or log in with Google. So once you log in, you get to some screen like this. Okay. Now, last time, Shiva, if you remember, we went through. Where is that container runtimes? What's a container? Okay, and we saw some things context. So remember running containers with Podman. Podman. You guys heard of Podman?
No.
Okay, so Podman is okay. So here is the story behind Docker. So what is Docker exactly? Is Docker? So Docker is, to start with, is the name of a company. It's also a container runtime, and then it also is a container orchestration. So Docker provides a bunch of tools: Docker runtime, Docker orchestration, and Docker registry, which we remember we talked about. It's by default, right? Now, but Docker is kind of dying. I don't know if any of you have heard about it.
Yeah, I have heard. Means I've gone through Kubernetes documentation where they have written that Docker has been to
Deprecated.
be outdated, yeah, deprecated. So
Docker is going to be
so
deprecated. Okay, so
deprecated.
we'll not go too deep into Docker. So what happened? So what is this Podman and what is Builda? Called Builda. Okay, what is Podman? So now the next stage, actually, after talking about containers, right, we should talk about pods. Okay, we'll talk about pods, but Podman and Builda, right? So remember with Docker, what do? You can create an image with Docker. You can run the container with Docker runtime, and you can save the image using Docker and a whole lot of stuff, right? Now, what Red Hat did, some of the features of Docker, right? So here's the story with why Docker is kind of dwindling. Okay. The reason why Docker is dying is because Kubernetes is getting into its turf. Now, Docker had a lot of some of the features that Kubernetes has kind of took over. So Docker's role in the container world is actually kind of shrinking. Okay. Now, what Red Hat did was instead of running Docker, so some of the features of Docker, right, is being done by Podman. Podman is also a runtime. It will actually you can use it to save. It's pure runtime. Okay, give container image and then Podman will run it. Okay. Now Podman is actually a bit more secure than uh, Docker. Okay. Now Builda is a tool that is actually used to build an image, to save an image, to pull an image, to push an image into the registry. Got it? So you build an image with Builda, and there are a few other tools, okay, like Quay, and there's another tool that will do image scanning for vulnerabilities and all that stuff. It's called Quail or something. I'm not remember it, but anyway, I'll tell you later. So the functionality of Docker, which was previously done, right, it is now being done by Podman, Builda, and Kubernetes. So it's kind of Kubernetes is getting into Docker stuff. So Docker is kind of losing ground there. Okay, got it? But remember, Podman and Builda are specific to Red Hat. Nobody else is using it. Is it clear, guys?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Now, what we will do is you stick with me, and then we will run this scenario. What is the container image? And then I will walk you through the scenario. Okay. Start scenario. Okay. So you are familiar with all this, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Now, rest of Shiva and Jagdish, you please sync up. See, I want you to participate. Okay. Even if you don't know, I mean, you don't worry that you're talking nonsense or whatever. Just speak up. Okay, that's how you learn. I mean, make mistakes.
Okay, sir.
So today we're going to talk about container image. Okay,
Yes, sir.
a container image is a tar file containing tar files. You know what a tar file is, Jagdish and Shiva? Do you know what a tar file is? Uh, Shiva and Jagdish. Speak up, guys.
No, sir. Tar file.
Okay, tar is, think about it like the zip on Linux. You know the zip file, right? On
Yes,
Windows.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So you know the zip file. So on Linux, there's a command called tar, and then tar is a lot more powerful and a lot more. It is command line. It's mostly command line. There's no GUI equivalent, but it's very powerful. It's fast. There's got compression capabilities and all that stuff. Okay. So container image is a tar file containing tar files. Think about it's in Windows world. It's like container image is a zip file containing zip files. Okay. Think about it. Each of the tar file is a layer. Once all the tar files have been extracted into the same location, then you have a containers file system. So the container is just an image, which means it's a file system. Okay. Now, so let's do this. This can be explored via Docker. Let's put the layers onto a local system. Let's do this. Okay. Docker pull Redis. Remember we did this last time. So what is this? Where is, you know what this pull means? Shiva and
Yes, sir.
Jagdish, what is pull? Remember we did this last time too.
Getting the data.
If somebody is talking, I can't hear.
Pull is it is a repository, sir.
Yeah. So what's happening is, and yeah. By the way, you guys want to turn off video? I'll be turning my camera on. Akhil, you might want to turn off your video so you can conserve on bandwidth.
Okay, I will turn off.
Yeah. So I'll be keeping my video on, so at least you guys know I'm not trying to still fall asleep. Okay. So what does this pull do? So remember we talked about last time. Where is it pulling from? It pulls from Docker registry. Now everything is by default Docker, but I mean in real life you may be using Docker, you may not be using Docker, but it pulls this image from Docker registry. Okay. Docker pull. So it pulled the image and it stores it somewhere. Okay. And what I'm doing now is Docker save the same image into redis.tar. Okay. Do you know what this Docker PS does? Remember we talked about it last time. Docker PS will actually tell you if there are any Docker containers running. Right, Shiva?
Okay, sir.
Shiva, you'll be the one answering questions, please, for the next 15 minutes. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So remember what is Docker images? So remember we just pulled it and then saved it into redis.tar. Okay. Let's see if we have this redis.tar. Redis.tar. Okay. Now, other than redis.tar, here we don't have anything else. Okay, in the file system. Got it?
Yes, sir.
Got it, Shiva? Jagdish, hope you are following
Yes,
it.
sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm following.
Why don't you increase the volume, man? We're struggling to hear. Okay.
Sir, I think.
Now, what is this star? What does this star? What does the star command do? Jagdish, we just talked about tar command 10 minutes back. What does the tar command do?
It's a tar command
No,
is
no, I
a
cannot hear you, man.
zip file.
You either speak loud or you fix your microphone.
It is a RQ like a zip file, sir.
No, 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 I can't hear. Anyway, so Shiva, tell me what does the star command do? Shiva, what happened? Shiva has disappeared, gone?
Disconnected, sir.
Okay, so let's move on. So, how do you? So, if you want to know a particular Linux command, what it does, what do you do? I mean, you can go to Google and then search and do whatever you want. But let's say you don't have access to Google, you just have a command line terminal window. What do you do? Hey, where is Shiva? Shiva has disappeared.
Shiva disconnected, sir.
I think Shiva's gone, man. Okay, one simple example is, you know what? Man, man is a command that will actually tell you, man ls, or it will tell you what ls command will do. Okay. And what? Man pwd. Okay. It will tell you what these commands do. Okay. Man. Okay. Or you can even do man. Okay. It tell you what is what is man? A man is an interface to the online reference manual. Okay. So man tar. Okay. So the new version of the tar archiving utility. Tar stores and extracts files from a tape or a disk archive. Okay. So now it says tar minus xvf redis.tar. So x is essentially saying, you know what? No, extract the file. But let's, even before we extract it, what I'm going to do is tar minus tvf redis.tar. Okay. It is not extracting, but it is just showing what are all the files that are available in the redis.tar file. Are you following, guys?
Sir, can you please repeat again?
Hey, Shiva is waiting, so let me admit him. So, okay, Jagdish, can you use
Yes, sir.
speakerphone, man? I don't know. I can't even hear you.
Sir, it's my headphone issue. I do not understand this. I'll try it.
I can't hear you, man.
I try to fix it actually.
What is that?
I try to fix it, sir. It is the headphones or
Okay, it's
reception issue.
still very low because when somebody else speaks, right, then it will blow my ears out. Got it?
Okay, sir. Sir,
Okay.
can you please repeat this one tar part?
Okay.
Redis dot tar and after this.
I'll repeat. Okay, so I told a couple of things. Okay. Tar is a utility like zip. Are you familiar with zip on Windows?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Yeah. I think this is better now. Okay. I think you did something. So tar is similar to zip. Okay. There are a lot
Yes,
of
sir.
differences, but let's
Yeah.
stick to that definition for now. Okay.
Oh,
Tar is
okay.
just like zip on Linux and Unix systems. Okay. And then I
Okay.
also talked
Okay.
about man command, which is manual command. Okay. So anytime if you want to know what the command does, just do a man. Okay. Man.
Man.
Okay. It will tell you it's a manual about a manual. Okay. Now,
Okay, sir.
man tar will tell you, hey, what does the tar do and what are the options and all that stuff. And then you can actually, it's a huge amount of documentation. It's better than
Okay, sir.
Google. So you don't get anything better than this. Okay. Now,
Okay, sir.
here, this guy, Mr. Shiva is back, right? Hey, Shiva, don't
Yes, sir.
lose.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Okay. Don't go back and forth. Okay. Now, what does this command do? Tar minus xvf redis.tar. Remember, I just did this tar minus tvf. I didn't say xvf. So tar minus t will actually give table of contents. It won't extract it, okay, because it hasn't done anything as yet. So it's still the redis.tar is still there. Now what we're going to do is we're going to extract this. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now once we extracted, you know, all these are kind of layers, and there's a bunch of files out there. Okay. Now I'll do ls-man as well. Okay. Now this tar, once we untarred this, so we got all these files. Okay. Now there is something called manifest. Let's do the cat. What does the cat command do? What is the equivalent cat command in Windows?
Yeah.
No, the cat
Cat.
command. What is that? No, the cat command in Linux. What is the equivalent in Windows? What does cat do? Actually, cat will actually just list the contents of the file. So what I'm going to do is cat manifest, and then to tell you, you know, there's a config. In fact, if you look at all these directories, right, it'll match this, whatever we have here. Okay, it's about a manifest, which I think out more like metadata. Okay, cat repositories. What does it do? It tells you, okay, it's a Redis database, and here are the properties. Now, what is this format called? Can you guys recognize this format? What is this format? It's not a simple text. I mean, it's a text, but it has got some format. What is it format? It's called JSON. You know what? Typically, now you remember we in the old days used to have something called XML. Okay. Now it's all JSON. Now JSON is a typical format. Now, if two services have to communicate now and with some data, it's invariably using JSON these days. Okay. Now these are JSON format, which is JSON stands for JS, stands for JavaScript Object Notation. Got it, Shiva? See, I would expect that
Okay.
you guys,
Yes, sir.
once you're done, try it out. Okay. You have to try this out yourself. See, it cannot get any simpler than this, right? Okay. Now, okay. Now I'm cat repositories and then cat JSON, if that's what it is. And then I'm going to extract one file and then we'll show you. Okay. So I did a tar with XCF on one of the layers that is already here. So which is what DA2A7, right? Where is it? So DA2A7. So this is the one I extracted. And these are all the file contents of that image. Remember what we talked about container image? It has got, in fact, you look at the Docker format too. It's like, what does it have? It tells you what image to start with and what to put on top of it, and so on and so forth. We'll actually look at a Docker file and then we'll work on it. Okay. Now, creating empty image. An image is just a tar file, and the empty image can be created using a command below. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a empty image. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Now, what does it say? So we created an image, and where is this coming from? Redis. Remember, we did a pull before.
Yes, sir.
We did a pull before. That's how we got Redis. In fact, if you go to step 1, we'll see that thing. Okay. Now I created a dummy image. Okay. So by importing the task, additional metadata will be created. Okay. However, as a container does not contain anything, it cannot start a process. That's obvious, right? Okay. Creating an image without Docker file. The previous idea of importing a tar file can be extended to create an entire image from scratch. Okay. Now to start with, we'll use BusyBox as the base. This will provide us with some foundation Linux commands. Okay. Now, what does this curl do? What is curl, man? Who can tell me what curl is?
Uh,
It's
See, we
kind
have
of it's kind of a request method in the Python, or and for the Linux, if you want some data to be downloaded, so you use a curl.
come again, boss.
So if you want to download some data, means through the Linux command window, and means whatever the data is hosted in the website, it just download it to your.
Yeah. So in the simplest, so you have Google, right? So sorry, not Google. The web browser. What exactly is web browser? In the simplest words, how would you say what a web browser is?
it
So
transfers data.
yeah, but what exactly? So it's essentially an internet client, a web client. Browser is a web client. Now, browser does provide a lot more features than what a web client provides. Okay, it does a lot more than what a web client provides. Okay, but curl is a command that you can use to simulate your web client requests. So remember, so let's do a simple example. Okay, let's before we go there. So what I'm doing here, curl. So pretty much I'm doing curl, and then it's actually downloading some content from here. Okay, actually it's what the heck is it? Okay. Now look at this command. What is it doing? Who can explain to me what this is doing? Maybe Shiva can try it, and then Jagdish. What is this doing? So what is this symbols here? So these are all options. You don't have to worry about these options. So what I'm worried about is command name, and then what is this? And then what is and symbol, and what is ch mode, and what is plus x, and then what's all this crap? You guys should tell me what it is, because these are all Linux stuff. Now, see, when you're actually working on containers and all, you have to be strong in Linux. Shiva, take a shot.
Sir, uh, it is transfer the data from the server, sir. The
Okay.
HTTPS.
Okay, that's first. Next, what is that? What is it? And
And then
this something called command chaining. So it's like there are 3 commands in one. So in effect, you can actually execute up to here, up to static, and then you can execute this separately, and you can execute this separately. Actually, okay, you can execute chmod plus x up to here separately. So there are 2 commands. So what it's doing is you download this stuff up to here, static, and after that you do chmod plus x busy box static. What is it? What is chmod plus x static? What is chmod, guys? If you don't know, what will you do?
Actually, yeah, it plays the file means availability for all the users. Means how we can access that the file folder. Means
I cannot hear you, man. Your audio is it's loud, but it's somehow it's echoing internally. I guess I can't really.
right now.
Yeah, that's fine. Go ahead.
Okay, so chmod is nothing but it's changing that file what do you say, accessibility for different users. Um, so that one part means whether the all the users or local user or just host can access what means what kind of the access they can get over that the
Yeah.
file which have been downloaded
Yes.
to
So
this.
what it's doing is essentially it's downloading this, and then plus x. which means it's changing that file to an executable permission. Now, look at all this. You know what X? So what is this? You understand this structure, guys? D means it's a directory. If you do ls minus L, LRT. Okay, this is all fundamental Linux. Okay. Now remember, so all these when it says D, right? It's all directories. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now these are not directories; they are files. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Now
Yes, sir.
this is what this RWRR means is that RW is what? Read and write, which means the owner of this file can read and write, and then the group in which that owner belongs to can only read, and rest of them this is for public, can only read. They cannot. So these are owned by root. Okay, these owned by root. I mean, now I don't have other user in here, but I'll take the simplest example. So you guys should try it out. Okay, on Linux. This is file permissions. Okay. Now,
Okay.
can I do this? What does it do? This if I do repositories, what does it? Is it raise? So why is it when I click on tab, it's not working? Remember, tab will give. Let's say, for example, ls minus lrt. Okay, repositories. It did completion, right? File completion.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, if I do this, why does it not work? Why does the tab not work? Now, see, that depends on file permissions. Now, what I'm going to do is, so if you look at ls minus lrt repositories, right? These RWRR, right? So what I'm going to do is chmod plus x repositories. Okay, what does it do?
It's changing.
It gives execute permission to the repositories file.
Yes.
Okay. Now you can do now. See what it did to. Remember what is this? It gave X to everybody, right? Now technically, if I can do if it file completes. You know why file completes? Why did not do here? Because here, where was that? So when I attempted to do / repositories before, okay, / when you give file name, right, it means that you're trying to execute it straight out, and then it's hinting you, boss, you don't have executive permissions, why are you doing it? So it doesn't allow you to complete file permissions. Got it?
Yes, sir.
Now in this case, it doesn't make any sense to give this executive permission, but I just wanted to show you how the executive permissions will work. Okay. Now, so what this command is doing here is, you download this file. Okay. So once the file is downloaded, right? When the file is downloaded, actually, let's do this step by step. Now the problem is, if the moment I click on this, it will execute. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll first download this static file and then change the permission to executable. So let's do this. Okay. Now, what is it doing here? BusyBox statics. Look at this. It already came with executable permissions. Okay. XXX, which means what does it mean? This is root user can. So here it puts root twice, right? One is group. So it says I'm a root user. Other is I belong to root group. Okay. So this is for root user, and this is for root group, and this is for public others. Okay. So what does when I did plus X, it's like just do it for root for everybody. Okay. Now I can also control to give permission only to root user or group. Okay, got it? Clear, guys, so far? Now,
yes, sir.
curl is a command that actually helps you to, in fact, download content from website. Now let's take a website. Like one of the things that I always do is Deccan Chronicle, right? So it puts a bunch of news here. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to fetch that. Where is it? Where is my screen? Where did it disappear? Okay. Okay. Now curl the HTTP. Yes. Actually, you know what? I already copied that, right? Let's do it. How come this doesn't work? Okay. What does it do? What did it do? So it actually downloaded all the content. Okay. Now this is all JavaScript stuff. So there's a whole lot of, so most of them are links. Now if you think about how much it downloaded, okay. Remember, okay, it says reason he could not come up with the Billy Bill would get him to approve of being a vaccinated and also. So all the stories are here. Okay.
Okay, so is it a code of the page, sir?
What is that? This is actually the HTML code, HTML JavaScript code for this.
For this entire page?
Yes, for the entire page. So what it does is, so in fact, if you find here, right, jobs and education, sports, everything you'll find here. In the somewhere. No, I'm not a JavaScript guy, so you'll find it here. So DeccanChronicle.com, and if you look at this major expressway in Bronx. Let's see if that is there here somewhere.
Okay,
Control
sir.
F. Control F. RONK. Bronx. Where is it? Bronx, somewhere it should be there. So do you find Turkey? Yeah. So anyway, so you guys can play around with this. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Got it?
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
so that's what curl does. I mean, in fact, we are drifting too much away from what we should supposed to be doing. Okay.
Curl and path, curl and this path, right, sir?
Yeah, that's what I did. Curl and the URL. In fact, let's do this google.com.
Yes, sir. Once.
So it should not be a. So these are all the internal. There's nothing much in Google because there's only one checkbox, right? So these are all the code for the checkbox. Now, if you copy this into a HTML page, actually, you know what? Let's do that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to redirect to test.html. Okay, actually, you know what? What I will do is I'll do this. No, on the file here on my command line terminal. You can see my command line terminal window. It's all Linux, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now what I'm going to, what is this arrow? What does it do? It's a redirect operator. So what I'm going to do is test.html. Okay. So you'll find this test.html, right? So what I'm going to do is this test.html, I'm going to open it on a browser. Okay. Actually, how do I open a file in this? How do I open a file in here? How do you open a file here? Let's see. I think it's easier on this Firefox. How the hell do I open a file? Damn, what is this? How do you open a file, man? I forgot how to open a file in this. Actually, I should turn on this, what do you call, okay, the best way is, let's come here. Where did we store the file? Home Rama K, right? So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to come here, home, Rama K dot, where is Rama K dot HTML here? Dot HTML. Where is it? Is it on desktop? Okay. You know what? Copy. Oh, sorry, it's test.html. Guys, I'm making mistake and you guys are silently watching. Okay. Should be test dot. Okay. Now open with Google Chrome. Okay. Okay. Got it, guys?
Yes, sir.
So we are not opening the Deccan Chronicle website. Okay. We are opening the curl command as output, that thing, and so this is just to demonstrate that the curl will just fetch you the data. Now, why is this links and all that? Because these are all relative links that don't exist on the local file system, but they exist on the Deccan Chronicle server. Got it?
Yes,
Is
sir.
it clear, guys?
Yes, sir.
Now you understood what
Yes.
it is doing, right? Okay. So we did that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to execute busybox. So what does busybox do? It's going to run a container, I guess. Okay. Running the script, we download the root fs and then main binary libraries. Now this is a bit more than what we actually need, but we are actually in the process of building a container. Okay. So what we are doing is now we are writing this to a release file. Okay. Running the script will download the root fs and main binaries. Okay. As before, the directory can be converted into a tar and automatically imported into Docker as an image. That's what we are doing now. Okay. Tar minus C. What is C? C option is create. Okay. Busybox. Okay. And we're piping it. What is this line? What is command? It's called pipe. That means what? Whatever output of this, gave it as input to this. Okay. That's what we are doing. Now this can now be launched as a container. So what we did was we built a Katacoda private container. Now, how do you know if the container is running or not? Guys, we went through this last time. So you remember container is actually process. Shiva, come on. We did this last time, guys. How do you know if a container is running or not? Let's do Docker PS. Oh, it's not running? What happened? Docker run. What is happening? Sudo Docker PS. Okay, I think it ran and then it died. Because, okay, what happened is it's not running. It ran quickly and then died. Okay. So anyway, so we'll look at a better example of running a container. But this is just the container image. So we know how to build a silly container image. We'll now look at examples of how to run better containers. Okay. Now, so this is what done. Okay. Now the next, before you go back, what you do is, now this is actually the first course, first test. What do you call exercise? Okay, this is what we did now. Okay, we saw what is a container image and how do you build a container. Okay, now actually now you know what a container is, right? You should go and execute this. We actually did this last time too. Okay, any questions?
Okay, sir.
Now, container is a difficult topic, but we will see again. Okay, we'll give good examples of how to run containers on your machine if you want, or anywhere else. Okay,
Okay, sir.
Shiva. Okay, so let's go back to the presentation we had last time. So a container image is a simplest definition is a file which is pulled down from registry. Remember we did Docker pull. Okay, each container has its own format. LXD, RKT, Rocket containers, and then Docker all have their own image formats. Now we look at the image formats later. Okay. So container registry is a repository and management tool for container images. You can pull images and push images into the registry. What is push? What does push do? Guys, what does push do? Well, okay, what does pull do? Tell me. We just talked about it. We just saw it. What does pull do? Shiva? Anybody can answer that question, guys. Akhil?
Yeah, actually, the just a minute,
Pull the data or transfer the.
I can't hear you.
yeah. Okay. So the push. Okay. The pull command is that when you want image from the Docker registry to your local system, that will pull that image up to your local system, and then push if you have built any image over your local registry, and just you want to push. Using a Docker push to your Docker hub, so it is used as a push
Man,
command.
your audio is echoing, man. Anyway, so essentially is push. So remember we did a Docker pull. So pull will fetch from the Docker registry. Now assuming that the Docker registry is our default registry. Now what does push do? Now you remember you can make changes to the image that you own. Okay, you make all the changes and then push it to the registry so that anybody else can use it. Okay, when you push, you kind of version the image and then you push it. Okay, container registry supports Docker image, manifest v2, and then OCA image formats. So we didn't talk about image formats. We'll talk about it later. Now, some of the registries, right? Container registries are Quay, which is proprietary to Red Hat. And then you have Google Cloud Registry, and all public clouds have their own container registry. So Microsoft has its own, and Google has its own, and then Azure has its own. And then you have Docker Hub. This is a public registry. Now, in fact, if you want to download an image of an Oracle database, you can go to Docker Hub. Got it? Okay. So here is more information about containers. Remember last time around, I told you to do your own research and learn containers stuff so that next when we talk about it, it will be much easier. So, okay, now we talked about containers. So let's talk about what is Docker. So in a nutshell, the Docker solution lets us quickly assemble composite enterprise scale and business critical applications. Now, this is a very high level definition. Remember I said Docker is the name of a company, Docker is a container engine, and then Docker is a repository for container images, and then it's also an orchestration tool. It's like huge, everything in one, okay? Docker solution primarily consists of the following: the Docker engine, which is the most predominant thing. So a lot of companies, they use Docker engine to build images and then Docker repository, but they use Kubernetes for orchestration and managing those containers. They don't use Docker as much. Docker containers wrap up a piece of software in a complete file system that contains everything it needs to run: code, runtime, system tools, system libraries, and anything you can install in a server. This guarantees that it will always run the same regardless of the environment it is running on. See, this is important thing. You remember when we talked about containers, it's portability, right? Remember we showed that diagram. What exactly is this? This means that the containers that are sitting on the ship, right? They're actually portable, which means what? From the ship, you just put it on your train, and then from the train, you just put it on your truck. Got it? Portability is a thing. Okay. Now, so this now, how was the life before Docker? Before Docker came along, okay, you had this install, configure, and maintain complex application. Okay, remember that scenario, right? It works on my machine, but it doesn't work on Raj's machine, or it works on my machine but doesn't work on Shiva's machine, right? Now all that scenarios are done away with, because once with the emergence of Docker, right, you pick up image, everything, content from a single source, which is the Docker registry. And once if it runs on one machine, it'll run everywhere, whether it's like a laptop or a server or anything else. So that is what is portability. Okay. Again, Docker is a open source containerization platform which automates the packaging, shipping, and deployment of any software applications that are presented as lightweight, portable, and self-sufficient containers that will run virtually everywhere, anywhere. Docker is a platform that allows you to build, ship, and run any app anywhere. Okay. Now, let's try some commands. Okay. So, what we will do is, while I wait here, we'll start this. What is a container? Remember last time we did this? Do you guys remember? Now we saw what is a container image, right? We saw how a container image is built, and then it's there somewhere on the register server. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is okay, let's do Docker PS. Are there any are there any containers running as of now? Guys, come on.
No, there are no containers.
There are no containers, right? Because we didn't start any. So what we'll do is we'll do the same thing what we did before. Docker run.
PS hyphen.
Yeah. So you can also do this PS and see if any PS minus FE. In fact, minus FE. I mean, there are actually it shows so many things, so that's why we don't need to do that. Okay. But when I said Docker PS, okay, I know there are no containers running. So what we'll do is we'll run this Docker container. Okay. So what I'm saying is, remember last time in the previous session, we just half an hour back we did Docker pull, right? We pull the image. Now, what I'm just saying is Docker run -d. I'm just saying, Docker, just go and run this image. Remember, it says unable to find image. What does it mean? So we're asking the Docker, say, hey, run this image. But then what will Docker do? It will look at the locally if the image is sitting. Okay. So remember when we did Docker images, we didn't get anything, right? But now we have one Redis, because when you say Docker run, it is trying to run an image locally, but the image doesn't exist locally. So what it's saying is, okay, I'm not finding it, so I'm going to download it from the registry. Now,
Okay.
how many pulls are there here? 6. What are the why there are 6 pulls? Guys, tell me, what are the 6 pulls?
Actually, it is trying to pull all the necessary files with the different location.
Boss, I don't know how you are speaking, but I cannot hear anything. I mean, I can hear some jumbled words. So either you keep your microphone very close to where you speak from, so that we can all understand what you're trying to say. Can you repeat?
Yeah, right now I'm
What?
able.
Yeah, it's fine now.
Are you? Yeah. Okay. So the thing is that it is trying to pull all the necessary image that is needed for that whole image. So it is trying out all since it is hosted. So what is the image name? Redis. So for the Redis image, you have different type of the images which is required for that main Redis image. So it tried to pull all those image
Okay, so hold on.
and
So
just
they're
compiled.
called
Yeah,
layers. So an
layers. Yeah.
image consists of layers. Remember last time we saw, when we did a tar minus xvf, right? It tarred a bunch of layers. That is exactly what it is pulling one by one here. Okay. Now I have this container running, because when I say Docker, now if I now say Docker PS, yeah. So remember the container of, the essential behavior of container is, right? You do some activity, and then once the activity is done, you die, perish. Okay, those are short-lived containers. But otherwise, if it's an application, I mean, you run a container and then you keep processing requests till you're done with it. But previously, when you created an empty container, right? We just then say it's an empty container, so we ran it, and then it ran and then just perished. Now, okay, and Docker top DB. Okay, so it is showing the how much time it has run and all those details. Okay, Docker can help you identify information of the process. So we did this last time, remember? So what is a PPID? PPID is this one, 1115. Okay, now we'll do PS tree. Now what does this PS tree does? What is PS tree? So it says, the last is where here is where our Redis server is. Okay, now this is a Docker daemon. What is Docker daemon? Docker D means what? It's actually the if you do ps minus fe pipe to grep for Docker D. Docker daemon is the Docker runtime. Okay, this is what it is. 682 is the here you can see, right? That's a PID here. Docker daemon. Okay, and then there's a child process Docker container 725, and then this 1115. So this is the parent ID of our image, and then this is 1130 is our Redis server. If you have if you're debugging, right, PS3 is a very good option for us to play around with. Okay, so here we are process like Linux is just series of magic files and contents. I mean, this we went through last time. So what I would encourage you guys to do is start with, actually, you know what, I will just press continue. Okay, this I don't need to go. So what I would want you to do is, we don't need this. So start with building a container image. Okay, so start with what is a container image. Okay, and then start the next, do what is a container. Okay, and then see, do this multiple times. In fact, last time I told you, did you guys do it last time? Guys, I need some response. Shiva, did you, I mean, remember we talked about this and this we talked about this, but did you guys try this? Did you guys even log into Katakoda or not? Shiva? What happened? Shiva is not here anymore? Guys, what happened? Shiva is gone?
Hello.
Okay.
Hello.
So okay, so here is
Hello.
the thing for you guys next week. Okay, start with what is a container image, and then what's a container. Okay, and then next week I will look at Docker, and then we'll actually build a container image from scratch. Okay, we will do it manually and then launch it. Okay.
Okay.
So I don't know why people are just going back and forth, man. This is not good. Okay, so Raj, is this session recorded?
Yes, sir. Recorded.
This session is recorded, right?
Yes.
So Akhil, so did you understand what I was trying to say?
Yeah.
Okay. What about Jagdish?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I think we'll wrap up for today. So what we will do is, you guys do this exercise. What's a container image? And then what's a container? Now, some of which you will not understand. Don't worry, because we will actually, next week, we'll actually build a container from scratch. Okay. We'll actually do coding work, making changes. We'll build a container image and we launch a container. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Now, what I'm going to do is, how do I, okay, let me download this. I'll give you the PDF. Desktop, Docker containers. So can I post it on, where do you want me to post this PDF, Raj?
Sir, WhatsApp group, sir.
What's that? So I'll put it on the WhatsApp group, and then, so, and Raj, you can forward it to these guys, right? Where is Raj?
Okay. Thank you, sir. No problem.
So follow that documentation that I pasted there. Okay, anything else? I think I want to wrap this up today. So you guys have a lot of homework to do.
Nothing from my side, Rama.
Okay, so next week we'll get deep and deep. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay,
Okay,
then.
sir.
Chalo.
Thank you. Thank you.
Have fun, guys.